Hello and welcome to Breathwood. My name is David Yates, and today I want to explore the sound of the breath in through the nose. So that's why I have this right here in my face. You should be able to hear me breathing in with this microphone this close. So I'm going to play the didge a little bit. I will point at my nose every time I breathe in, and I'll explore the range of volume that I can create through my nose, from as soft as possible, so soft I'm trying to make it seem like you won't be able to hear me, to as loud as possible. And then I'll talk about what the difference is between those. All right. So, you probably noticed a range of volumes. And I'm actually finding it difficult to breathe more loudly on faster rhythms like this one. I don't know how much you're hearing the breath in that rhythm. It gets covered up by the sound of the didge a little bit. But I think it's more about the technique of the breathing in a faster rhythm that actually forces some relaxation and smaller breaths so that it becomes quieter. So here's what we can try. Just take a nice, slow, gentle breath in. Don't worry too much about the volume right now. And just notice where you feel and hear the breath. I definitely feel it and hear it in my nose. Now shift your focus down to your lungs, your diaphragm, and your belly, and see if you can expand your belly and soften the friction of the air through your nose. So you're going to try to soften your nose, just mentally soften, just think soften, and expand the belly. My sound went almost completely away. One thing I notice is that the friction that usually happens here starts to happen in the throat a little bit, kind of like this. Can you hear that? In yoga, they call this Ujjayi breath. It's audible breathing from the back of the throat rather than the front of the nose. So instead of here, it's more or I'm trying to make it extra loud. It's not usually necessarily that intense. If you shift your focus more to the back of the sinuses or the back of the throat, it will take away that friction sound that happens here. But here's the other thing. When you're trying to breathe in, a shift in attitude is really important. We want to shift our attitudes away from the feeling that we're trying so hard to get a breath, and to trust that with the right technique, you will get as much air as you need. Couple things that help with that are to breathe more often and take smaller breaths. So more often and smaller breaths. So instead of a long rhythm like this, You know, that's one option. But my body naturally takes a harder breath when I've gone longer without breathing, because my body feels like it needs air. But if I take breaths more often, then it can take smaller, quicker sips of air. So that was something like do, 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 do. So it's do, fill, squeeze, do, fill, squeeze. There's another interesting thing that happens in the throat. And to experience this, try this. Take a really, really deep breath in and then just hold it. And try to feel where in your body you're catching the air from blowing out. So big breath in and then hold it. Where are you holding it? Where are you holding it? That's what I want you to explore. If your mouth's open, you're most likely holding it with the back of your throat. And if I let it out again, there's this like a glug of it opening. The throat opens to allow the air out. So all this tension is holding back the air, and then suddenly out it goes. So if you're playing the didge with that feeling, you're going to create tension every time you breathe in. It's like the throat needs to squeeze really hard to push the air out the didge. And in that moment, it's like almost like the edge of choking, like almost the edge of snoring even. I can't quite reproduce it without the didge. Instead, you want to think about how your mouth is always pressurized. Even if you're not about to circular breathe, there is always pressure here. You only need a little push of air to then breathe in. So in that moment, when I switch from blowing out to breathing in, it's not two such distinct moments. Blow, squeeze, and breathe. There's an openness to the throat. Like I'm saying, aw, at the dentist, aw. Even E has openness. It's just a different shape. E. And then I only need a little push. Sometimes it can be the throat. E, like saying E-yung, E-yung, E-yung. That's enough to breathe on. And I'm breathing in on these. If you're using your cheeks, you only need a little squeeze. So one other thing you can practice is really quick sniffs of air. And if you're getting the sound, then you know you need smaller sniffs. Smaller and a little quicker, or a little more gentle. Can you hear that? So see how quietly you can breathe, just in and out the nose even. And then take an exercise I've shown before, where you breathe in the nose and out the mouth with the mouth open the whole time. You're going to hear all sorts of little sounds in the gurgling of the throat as it opens and closes, but just try to make it gentle. How softly can you do it?
That's basically what I'm doing when I'm playing.
Now, someone mentioned in a thread on Didgeridoo Learning Community that Ondrej Smeykal mics his nose. And so he adds effect to the sound of the breathing to add to the whole rhythm. So that's an intentional use of the breath sound, and totally fine. Everything's allowed. We just want to be able to control what we do. We want to be able to choose quiet breathing or loud breathing. So in that example, I'm doing something like blow, breathe, blow, breathe, blow, breathe, but I'm making some of the breaths audible and some inaudible. Blow, breathe, blow, breathe, blow, breathe, but it's like blow, breath, 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 blow, breath. So we want control at every moment. So I hope that gives you something to think about and practice and play with. To review, the idea is if you can hear your breathing, you might be breathing in too much air, too hard, not often enough. So breathe more often, take more gentle breaths, which means smaller breaths, maybe quicker, maybe not. And it's really the technique of the rhythm and how you're squeezing, how open you are before you squeeze, that will determine how loud the breath needs to be. So play with those, and please feel free to post any questions you have about this. It's a bit of a funny topic to talk about because it's not, it's not a simple, straightforward thing like telling someone to go, to make a sound. We can talk about that in a very specific way. But the breath control is really internal. So we're working with an internal practice. All right, enough talk. Go practice, have fun, and explore. Thank you so much for watching, and happy playing.